Weather brought to you by jwolf.com. Value driven.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. His job is to help former prison inmates turn their lives around because he has done it himself. He is Daryl Burton, who spent 24 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit. Now working for the TurnAround program for Catholic Charities of Kansas City St. Joseph, here this morning to talk about his story and the program. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Well, thank you.
I want to talk about the program here in just a moment, but first, your story in particular. 24 years behind bars. You were accused, charged, and convicted of murder?
Yes.
In St. Louis?
Yes. I was convicted of capital murder in the city of St. Louis back in 1984 when I was arrested. I went to trial in 1985 based on just evidence by two witnesses, two snitch witnesses, jailhouse witnesses. And they came into court and they lied on me. No motive, no ballistics, no DNA, no confession, weapon, nothing connected me to the crime with the exception of those witnesses.
Okay, and what did it take to get you out after 24 years' time?
Some lawyers came back, an organization out of Princeton, New Jersey called Centurion Ministries. They do investigate actual innocence cases, and they took my case and actually wrote me a letter back in 1990, and they took my case about 10 years later in 2000, went back and reinvestigated, and they discovered there was a woman who was on the gas station lot where the guy was killed, and she had told the police back in my trial that they had the wrong man. I was too dark. That never came out until 2007. And they also discovered one of the snitch witnesses. They said had a couple of convictions, and he was facing a couple of years in jail, where they found out he had more than 2 convictions, he had 12, and he was facing 30 years in jail. And he had done something like that before. And so they discovered that the prosecution didn't reveal all the facts about their witness, their key witness.
Did police ever solve that case?
Well, the guy who was killed, him and another gentleman, in fact, a group of guys, they was in a drug war over drug turf, and another
Because the victim in this case was a drug dealer, was he?
Yeah, he was in the drugs. And another guy had shot this guy 2 years prior, and had shot at him several other times, and after I went to prison 2 years after that, he was killed. So they never did discover that.
24 years behind bars, you're finally out. Bitter?
Not today. I was bitter for a lot of years, but not today. That was hurting me. That was destroying me. And I was angry at a lot of people. I mean, the system. I mean, just a lot of people I hated.
Because I'm not sure anybody would blame you if you were. I know no one would blame you if you were.
And I understand that. But and because of what I've discovered by way of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I gave that up. And what he went through, it showed me, that I had to, let that bitterness go for me. And it wasn't for them. I mean, it was just hurting me. It was self-defeating.
Which is easier said than done, is it not?
Absolutely, absolutely, because when Jesus, he had a prescription about praying for your enemy and praying for those who, hurt you and hate you and try to destroy you, and I prayed through clenched teeth. I literally prayed, I'm going to pray for these people, Jesus, but I don't like it. These people lied on me. That's how I prayed when I started praying for those people, and that was very painful and very hard, but I tried to do exactly what he prescribed in the red letters in the Bible, what I started reading, because I didn't go in believing. I was not a believer when I was arrested. I was 22 years old. I just enrolled in college, and I didn't believe in God, heaven, hell, none of that.
Talk to me about the frustration of telling people over the course of 24 years that you're in prison for a murder you did not commit. You're telling people I didn't do it, and nobody's believing you.
When I was arrested back in 1984, I thought I was the only person in the United States of America who was going through something like that. This just didn't happen. And yes, I thought that, no one's going to believe me. In fact, I told the judge after they convicted me, I felt that he was responsible for allowing that to happen, and I was going to fight the case till I proved that I was innocent. I was facing, life without parole for 50 years, once they waived the death penalty. But everyone that I talked to, I knew was just not going to believe me. It was just hard to convince somebody of that story until I saw that organization, Princeton, New Jersey, out of Princeton, New Jersey, Centurion Ministry, and wrote them a letter, because that's what they do. They help free the innocent in prison. And they wrote me back, and they didn't take my case, like I said, for 10 years. So it took 10 years. Then it was 8 years after that when they got me out.
And here you are now, connected with the TurnAround program of Catholic Charities of Kansas City and St. Joseph, where you are helping mentor, counsel, and help people who are just out of prison and try to get on the right track. Daryl Burton, in our next hour of First News, we're going to talk about more about this program, how it works, and how you can help. So stay right there. We'll be back in the next hour. Thank you.
A new push for tourism aims to make a scenic piece of Kansas history a national attraction.